All right, all you avoidants out there, today is a moment of recognition and declaration. Raise your right hands, repeat with me. I know I have avoidant tendencies, but I'm ready to make some changes. All right, so here's the deal. Being avoidant is not some self-sufficient, independent, I don't need anybody else enjoying life moment. It's actually a life of struggling to suppress your attachment system and desires because you have wrongly concluded that the issues in all your relationships are out there when in fact they're in here. That's what you're committing a life to. So let me introduce myself. My name is Eric. I am your friend, and I'm here to tell you that the problem in your relationships is you. And that's always the case. All of our relationship issues are us. It's in here, not out there. Yes, I know what you're saying. Even though you may be in a relationship with somebody who's a complete train wreck, they're dysfunctional, they're unhealthy, they're toxic, watch this, you still pick them. And I know what you're saying. Oh yeah, but they put on a good face and I didn't know to. Okay. But if you're still in the relationship, the problem is you. You haven't set healthy boundaries. You haven't exited a relationship. The good news in recognizing that the issues in every relationship we have are actually in us is you're in control of that. You'll never change another person. You're not in control of another person. You'll always be in control of yourself. So the good news is if you have avoidant tendencies and avoidant inclinations, you have the power to make changes to those inclinations and end up in a much more secure, healthy relationship. So what I want to do in this video is I want to give you 8 ways that avoidance can stop pushing love away and actually enjoy the kind of relationship that they deeply desire, but have decided either doesn't exist or they don't know how to create it. And so instead they're allowing their deactivating strategies to prevent them from doing it. Thought number 1 is this: recognize your deactivating strategies. You can't work on something that you don't recognize. So the next time you get excited about a relationship and then quickly get a gut feeling that maybe this isn't the right one, stop and think. Is this reality? Or is this my deactivating strategy, trying to create some distance because I'm not comfortable with the intimacy in the relationship? Next time you find yourself finding everything wrong with the other person, are these really just big issues? Or is it your deactivating strategies causing you to find something wrong so that you can slowly push away from the relationship? You got to recognize these, and if you don't know what those are, I've done a whole video on 8 ways to identify if you may be dating an avoidant. You can go check those out, or you can just Google deactivating strategies for avoidance. You'll find all kinds of stuff. It will help you recognize if those things may be occurring in the relationship so that you can begin to change those things in the relationship. Thought number 2 is seek mutual support. What I want you to do is understand that if you and your partner are both connected, are both supporting each other mutually, what that will do is that will create a secure base in your relationship. And from that secure base, you'll actually both be able to be more independent and go out into the world. Did a whole video on the dependency paradox, the idea that the more you depend on each other in a healthy way so that you both feel secure about the relationship, the more you're able to then be independent, pursuing and doing your own thing. So if you seek mutual support in the relationship, and it's not just one-sided, you won't feel the other person being as needy, which will allow you to be present in the relationship, but then also both of you be independent. Thought number 3 is find somebody secure. Yeah, quit dating anxious people. When you date an anxious person, all they're going to do is trigger your greatest fears and issues in your relationship, right? Because the anxious person needs reassurance. They tend to be clingy and needy, which is going to trigger all your deactivating strategies, which is like, hey, you're a little too close. I need a little more space. So quit dating the anxious people that trigger the stuff that you're trying to work on and get better, and instead find somebody secure. Somebody that doesn't need the reassurance all the time. Somebody that is comfortable with giving you the space that you may need. And when you find a secure relationship, you will be much more apt to be able to engage in that relationship in a healthy way. Thought number 4 is acknowledge your misinterpretations. You have a tendency to interpret things in a negative way in your relationship. That's your leaning. That's just the way it is. So what I need you to do is next time you start interpreting your partner's behavior in a negative way, stop for a minute. If you know that they care about you and you know that they love you, now you can assume the best, that they have your best interest in mind, that they're not out to get you, that they're not going to pull some switcheroo on you at the last minute. And so you need to understand that your tendency is to misinterpret in a negative way. And I want you to recognize that. I want you to stop it. And I want you instead to choose to assume the best until proven otherwise. Yes, they may prove not to have your best interest in mind, but don't assume it before they've had a chance to prove it. Well, I know that maybe opens you up to getting hurt. Welcome to relationship. There is risk in relationship. But if you always assume the negative and you always assume the worst, you're never going to give them the benefit of the doubt and the relationship's not going to be healthy. So just recognize the fact that you tend to misinterpret in a negative way so you can stop it. You can believe that they care about you and you can assume the best. Number 5 is keep a gratitude list. Again, because your tendency is to see the negative, I want you instead to shift that by having a tendency to focus on the positive. So I want you to be looking for positive things. And when you see the positive things, I want you to create a list in your phone, wherever else you make lists, of positive things. And at the end of the day, I want you to evaluate and go back over and read the positive things. I want you to continue to retrain your brain to see positive instead of negative. It's not going to be easy at first because you have a habit of seeing the negative, but I want you to develop a habit of seeing the positive. And if you're looking for it, you're going to have a greater tendency of seeing it. And if you're writing it down, you're going to remember it and you can go back to it. So create a gratitude list. Number 6 is eliminate the phantom X, right? This is a person that you can always compare the reality of the person in front of you to some non-reality of who you used to be with. The fact that the person you were with in the past is an X is they were an X for a reason. You found lots of critical things and issues with them in the past. That's why they're an X. They're not as great as what you're portraying in your mind in the present. And nobody can compare to some fictitious, unrealistic phantom X in the past. You're only using that so that you can discount this present person. The other one's not a viable option. They weren't a viable option then. They're not a viable option now. So quit looking back and imagine. This is the same thing that happens to so many people when they're not happy in their relationships and they reconnect with someone on social media from high school or college. And it's like, dude, you're recreating a dream of a season in your life. It's not reality. So quit bringing up and just avoid the phantom X. Number 7 is avoid the one thinking. That's the idea that there's this perfect person out there for you and you have an image in mind of what that perfect person is. And so you're comparing all the people that you're in relationship with to the perfect person that really doesn't exist. And then you can discount and pick apart everybody that you're with. What you need to do is make the person that you choose to be with the one by developing a healthy relationship, by clearly communicating your desires and expectations in the relationship, and build the kind of relationship you want. I don't care who you're with. Everybody, if you watch any of my videos, you've heard me say, when you get married someday, you sign up for a set of unresolvable issues with whoever you marry. There's no perfect person. It's about choosing the person that lines up with values with you, that there's clarity of expectations, that you enjoy some level of compatibility, chemistry with. And then once you find that person, make them the one by building a healthy relationship with that person. So quit looking for, quote, the one, and whoever you choose to be in relationship with, evaluate that relationship, build that relationship, and make that the one for you. And number 8 is distract yourself. Research has shown that when avoidants are distracted, they tend to be less negative about the situation, about the person they're in relationship with. They tend to focus less on the negative things. So when you're spending time with your partner, do stuff that will distract you from focusing in on the negative. I'm not saying ignore legitimate issues. I'm saying if you do things like take a hike together, like make a meal together, like go play miniature golf together, like you're doing active stuff rather than just sitting at dinner having a conversation or just sitting at home on the couch having a conversation. When you're actively doing stuff, you are distracted by some of the stuff you're doing and less of a tendency to do what you normally do, which is unhealthy, which is focus on the negative. So part of this is a hack for you to allow yourself to quit focusing on all the negative things and nitpicking everything by keeping yourself distracted by actually doing activities with the other person when you're spending time with them. That can help you to develop a more positive outlook overall. So there are 8 ways that if you're an avoidant, you can stop pushing love away. Again, you may have an avoidant tendency that is developed in your life from childhood or past relationships, but you are not stuck with an avoidant tendency, and you can utilize some of these 8 tips to move yourself into more of a secure attachment style and enjoy a healthier relationship. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Let's talk about this. If we can help you in any area of your relationship journey, let us know. You'll see all kinds of resources in the description area below. And until next time, we'll see you right back here on Relation Shots.